This is the Orioles POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the Baltimore Orioles. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
They were down, but never out. The Baltimore Orioles fight, scratch, clawed their way back, and assert themselves in yet another series win over the LA Angels here on this Saturday night. Final score, Baltimore 6, LA 5. We're celebrating a series win here on the Locked On Orioles postcast. Hello, if you're new here, if this is your first time, if you're listening, tuning in, saying, who the heck is this guy? My name is Luke Slaybaugh. I'm your post-game show host exclusively this year for every Baltimore Orioles game. Today, we are celebrating a 6-5 win over the Los Angeles Angels. As a reminder, this show streams live to YouTube. If you find yourself trolling the internet, browsing the web, you can tune in live right now like others in the comment section right now. Go ahead, leave a comment. Let me know where you're watching from, if you were at the game, your takeaways from this series win over the Angels, your thoughts on a potential sweep tomorrow. And before we move any further, as I am wont to do, go ahead and leave a comment down in the comment section. If you're watching live, if you're driving, you can say it out loud. If you're watching on demand next day, who's your player of the game from this 6-5 win over the LA Angels? This show is available on demand on the Locked On Podcast Network. I want to say thank you for tuning in, listening, watching, wherever and whenever you may be. A lot of dramatics in this one. The lead giveth, taketh away. And it all comes down to a very good first pitch approach from these Baltimore Orioles. We're seeing a selective aggression these days. And it came off the bat of Cedric Mullins to put the O's up for good. It is tonight's turning point.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
In this constant seesaw of leading and trailing, we go bottom 6. The O's are down 4-3. Left-hander Keegan Aiken, in relief of Tomoyuki Sagano, had just given up a home run to Luis Rengifo an inning prior. So it's 4-3 Angels. Ramon Laureano leads off with a walk against left-hander Tyler Anderson, a pitcher with whom the Orioles are well familiar. They saw him in the Anaheim series a month ago. And then the first pitch out of Anderson's hand, lefty-to-lefty changeup against Cedric Mullins at the plate, blasted to center field, his 11th home run of the season. Cedric Mullins makes it a 5-4 ball game. Perhaps even more astounding and momentum shifting. Next batter, Gary Sánchez, fresh off the injured list, had been missing since April. A game against Detroit where he was hit multiple times by a pitch, had right wrist inflammation. He works the count, gets a hanging changeup, yanks it over the left field fence, and he too has conquered Baltimore. It's a 6-4 ball game on back-to-back jacks, becoming more of a trend for Baltimore these days. Adley Rutschman and Gunnar Henderson had just gone back-to-back in the Seattle series, and then prior to that, you have to go back to May 14th, where it was Mullins and Heston Kjerstad in that doubleheader against Minnesota. Mullins with a grand slam in that game. It's Gary Sanchez's first home run as a Baltimore Oriole. And my instant reaction was to go on Twitter and say, that's exactly why the Orioles brought in Sánchez. You wanted some pop, some electric at the plate. You weren't getting that out of Maverick Hanley. Hanley had warning track power. We saw it last night in that rain-soaked affair, a 2-0 win over the Angels, where he seemed to get all the ball, crushing it to left field into the wind, and well short of the warning track, it was a flyout. Much has been made of how Hanley has handled the O's pitching staff, particularly Charlie Morton, who was bursting into fits of purple prose about how hard of a worker he is and how industrious Maverick Hanley is. He will be back at some point. It is fair to say that Hanley's hit tool was limited. And Gary Sánchez hit 19 home runs a couple years ago for the Padres. He should be good for 10 to 15 off the bench. We weren't seeing that, and he seemed very discombobulated to start the year. You would agree. It seemed like the head, the heart, and the hands were not in cohesion. Even today, there were some swings that kind of looked discombobulated, kind of baby draft-esque. But even more so, we got to talk with the heart, the hustle, and gusto we saw from the O's on the base paths, aided by third base coach Buck Britton, in a way that cemented themselves in this game as the team that just could not be stopped. What we're talking about is the heart they took to originally take a 3-2 lead.
This is what you'll be talking about.
The thing with the first pitch approach is that it is kind of a guessing game, right? Hitting a baseball is the hardest thing to do in sports. You got to know immediately out of the pitcher's hand, whether or not you're committing to it. You got to be able to recognize the spin on the ball, the grip on the ball, anything that can help you put the ball in play. And we've seen the O's do terribly at that, and then we've seen them recently do really good at it. First pitch damage tonight, we talked about the Mullins home run off the top. Jackson Holiday led off the bottom of the first with a double. Dylan Carlson had a single in the fourth. First pitch off of left-hander Tyler Anderson. More on him in a bit. But we go to the bottom of the third, and this is starting to bite the Orioles. Left-hander Tyler Anderson on the mound for the Angels, and he gets 2 outs on 3 pitches. Less than ideal. Luckily, Adley Rutschman is up with 2 outs. He's able to finesse a walk, reads the ball in dirt on a wild pitch from Anderson. Logan O'Hoppe has a hard time corralling it, so Adley is able to swipe second base. Not credited as a steal, but is able to take second. Now you got a runner in scoring position. And the O's, who had done a good job bottom of the first to bring in some runners in scoring position via the small ball, or just one runner at that. It's up to Gunnar Henderson with 2 outs. Next pitch, RBI single to right field. Played on the hop by Lamont Wade Jr. and Buck Britton with an aggressive send. Adley Rutschman, chugging around third base, is able to beat the throw. And all of a sudden, the O's have tied this game 2-2. Gunnar is able to steal second base on the next bat. Jordan Westberg at the plate. He goes opposite field to right field. And before Gunnar can even touch third base, Buck Britton has given him the windmill. Very much from the Tony Mansolino school of base running. What's the worst that could happen? Send him. And it works. Wade's throw is offline. It is weak. It is not a fire hose. In fact, Wade is lifted later in the game for Scott Kingery. It's a 3-2 ball game due to the heart and hustle of these O's hitters and base runners. And it's the core. We're not singing the praises of Ramon Laureano and Dylan Carlson setting the scene or setting the example for the O's at the plate or on the base paths. And I mentioned being able to manufacture runs not via the long ball. That is a good example. Even smaller ball, bottom first, the O's are down 2-0. Mike Trout with a 2-run home run against Tomo Sagano in the front half of the inning. Jackson Holiday doubles, as we mentioned. Adley Rutschman reaches via the walk. Gunnar moves him over with the ground out to the right side. Westberg hits a grounder deep to third base, able to bring in Holiday with his speed, and it's a 2-1 ball game. Chipping away and avoiding that shutdown inning, it was great for momentum, and it was a great show out of this team. That is Baltimore Orioles baseball and O's magic, if you will. It shows the tenacity of this team. Good to see it now, while competitive games are still being played, and you are still in the process of getting healthy. Still no Colton Cowser. He was banged up from running into the wall a couple nights ago. He was available off the bench, and that's kind of an encouraging sight to see, that the O's are able to put up 6 runs, and who's on the bench? O'Hearn, Urias, and Cowser. All good pinch-hitting threats if the situation called for it late in the game. Talking about Adley Rutschman being a star of this game, maybe not the player of the game, but I would listen if you voted in the comments section for Adley to be player of the game. He worked his tail off. Top of the 8th. Zachary Neto on first base, 2 outs. Brian Baker just put in the game for Andrew Kittredge, who had given up a home run to Luis Rengifo again. Going too fast. Made it a 6-5 ball game, so you got a runner on first and Neto. Nolan Shonwell is the go-ahead run at the plate. Baker is in. Second pitch of the at-bat. Neto's running. Adley Rutschman fires it down on a short hop to Gunnar Henderson. Gunnar picks it, slaps the tag on Neto to end the inning. And all of a sudden, any tension, momentum leaning in LA's way, erased. First multi-hit game for Kobe Mayo. Did it in a great way, protecting the plate with 2 strikes. Bottom of the 8th, getting a low splitter. Good piece of hitting for a single. And then bottom 6, earlier in the game, ripped a double down the left field line off of Hunter Strickland, just a couple batters after Cedric Mullins and Gary Sánchez broke this game open. Before we continue, go ahead, leave a comment down in the section, my live YouTube viewers. Love that you're here. Let me know who your player of the game is, your thoughts on this series win over the Angels. Anything you can contribute really helps out the show. And coming up, we'll reward our player of the game. We're going to talk about Tomoyuki Sagano's outing, some good, some bad, and we'll look ahead to the Father's Day matchup, which will be a 1:35 first pitch on Masson. Mentioned Ryan O'Hearn being a late scratch today. Going to get into that a little bit. I wanted to talk about it in depth last night. And Dylan Carlson getting a last-minute slide into the lineup and what he's meant to this team. All that coming up after the break. Please stick with us. This is the Locked On Podcast Network. You're listening to the Baltimore Orioles POSTCAST. And I'm so hopped up on adrenaline. I got to give a shout-out to Trade Coffee. Coffee is a ritual, a lifeline. It is essential. So if you're drinking coffee, it's got to be great. Not the run-of-the-mill stuff that has been passed down through generations through my Italian side of the family. And yes, it is Italian. That's where I got this and where I got these. Trade Coffee comes in. #1 coffee destination in the U.S. delivers fresh, incredible coffee from over 50 of the U.S.'s top roasters. Whether you're a cold brew fan, like I am, thickest, darkest, juiciest, blackest cold brew imaginable. Or maybe you like something a little more crafty, a little bit more pour-over style. I won't judge you, but I think you're wrong. Trade Coffee's got it all. I took Trade's quiz. Takes only a minute, and the first bag they sent me was spot on. So right now, Trade is exclusively offering our customers 50% off their first 1-month trial at drinktrade.com/lockedonmlb. drinktrade.com/lockedonmlb for 50% off your 1-month trial. Give it a shot. Thanks to Trade Coffee. Also, big shout out to FanDuel. We had mentioned that the NBA Finals are going on. 2-2 might be the most competitive finals we've seen in a while. You got 2 of the smaller markets. I enjoy it. 2 of the teams that I used to cover back in the day. Pacers, and prior to that, the Thunder. Great teams. And FanDuel says it's easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live. Player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays. You've got more ways than ever to play smart and win big. If you're new to FanDuel, it's the perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. $200. That's not bad. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. I love it. Now back to the show.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
Gonna be honest, haven't read the comment section. It's Cedric Mullins. Reclaims the O's home run lead with 11 in this game. Ryan O'Hearn was a late scratch today. We go back to last night, that rain-soaked affair with multiple rain delays, one at the start and then one in the 5th inning. And a lot of emphasis being placed on drying the bags, wiping the bases with rags, making sure that no one slips on top of them, because that has been a point of concern in recent years. Zachary Neto, grounding out in the top of the 7th, stumbled over the bag, but in the process clipped Ryan O'Hearn's left ankle with his cleat, part of a double play. And Neto's shaken up, and O'Hearn is shaken up as well. He played through it and then was a last-minute sub out of this game, which allowed Kobe Mayo to play first base, and then Dylan Carlson to slide into left. Ramon Laureano moves from left to right. You're at a point this season where that's okay, that you've got enough guys that you want to give runway to play, and Gary Sánchez has just been activated. He was going to be DHing in this game regardless. But I think it's worth saying that maybe that game last night should have ended after 5, particularly given the final score. In retrospect, hindsight is very much 2020. But going into that delay 2-0 and then coming out of it 2-0, you could have lost a potential all-star there. The the first baseman and base runner plays are always scary because if a throw goes into the baseline, we've seen incidents of rogue base runners and hitters in the past try to interfere with that play. Not saying that's what Neto was doing at all. That he was just doing his job here, but he could have slipped. He could have done something to his groin. Neto could have, and O'Hearn as well. Um, I hope this doesn't come back and bite them or bite him, given the stretch that he's been on in a potential All-Star campaign. Good to see Dylan Carlson get some at bats versus lefties. That is one of the reasons why Dylan, why he and Gary Sanchez were brought in, and Ramon Laureano as well, and Tyler O'Neill. So their part was to help the O's beat up against lefties, particularly in the American League. Hasn't happened so far, but today was a really good step in that direction. And Carlson finishes 1 of 4. I mentioned that first pitch single off of Tyler Anderson. Also had a really good 9-pitch AB against right-hander Hunter Strickland. Ended with a lineout to rookie Christian Moore at second base. Moore out of the University of Tennessee, Knoxville. Tomoyuki Sagano's start, eh. His best start, arguably, of the year was at Anaheim in May. Seemed like a get-right game for the team at the time. They ended up taking 2 of 3 from LA, and then they come back, and that's when the foundations kind of collapsed and Brandon Hyde got fired. And it seemed that the Angels had sussed him out and scouted him properly because he was not in command for most of this game. You got to go back to just the leadoff man in this game. Neto walks on 4 straight pitches, which is highly uncharacteristic of a control artist like Sagano. And then Mike Trout with a mammoth home run, 2-run shot off the left field foul pole, just pulled his hands in on a fastball. Seemed like he had Tomo figured out. Honestly, big hat tip to the O's pitching today to limit the damage that Trout was able to do. And he ran into some trouble as well after getting the lead. We go top 5, has an infield single given up to Neto, hits Seanwell with the pitch. Luckily, able to get some revenge on Trout, freezes him 3-2 on a fastball running inside. Adley Rutschman was set up on the outside part of the plate, got crossed up for sure. And then Taylor Ward, who had a spectacular 3-for-4 game, hits a double down the left field line. Neto scores, made it a 3-3 ball game. Props to Tomo for not completely collapsing. Infield is brought in. Logan O'Hoppe at the plate taps a ground ball to Jordan Westberg, able to hold the runner at third and throw him out. That's when Keegan Aiken comes in to get the final out of the inning and a force out. Scott Kingery pinch hitting for Lamont Wade. Taps one to Westberg, and that would end the inning. So kind of a mixed bag for Sagano. Not going to look back at this as one of his best outings, but to be able to keep the team in the game during high pressure and high leverage moments is respectable. He goes 4 2/3, 3 earned runs, 6 hits, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts, the home run given up to Trout, and 2 hit batsmen. All that on 80 pitches, so not an efficient outing for Tomo at all. I will say that he was aided, though, by a 4-pitch inning in the top of the 4th. The Angels did hand him that. Had they taken respectable at bats in that 4th inning frame, perhaps this is a much shorter outing and maybe more damage is given up by Sagano. But credit to Tony Mansolino for again navigating a bullpen, and really the only damage given up was that home run to Rengifo the next inning by Aiken. Everyone else did their job. Well, Kittredge as well, giving up the home run. But I gotta say, impressed with the way that this team was able to hold on. And the O's carry on. They look to make this a sweep tomorrow against the LA Angels. And how fun would that be? Get this thing back on track. The Angels are the next team to leapfrog in those AL wildcard standings. And so anything you can do to stick it to the teams that are above you. There's some great opportunities in the month ahead between the 7 games against Tampa, the series up at the Bronx, and the Texas Rangers a couple times. It's now or never. It is very much a do or die portion of the season. So Cade Povich is going to roll the boulder up the mountain one more time. Going up against left-hander Yusei Kikuchi, someone who Connor Newcomb pounded the table this offseason to try to go get. Would have been a nice addition. He is a 2.92 ERA this season. He is 2-5. That's a 135 first pitch on Masson. Cade Povich is 1-5 this season with a 5.46 ERA. This guy needs to take it on his shoulders. Still looking for his first win at Camden Yards. He is 0-3 with a 7.59 ERA at home. And hopefully we come back here tomorrow afternoon and we'll say that Cade Povich made the Angels call him daddy. Could be. That'll do it for us here on the Locked On Orioles postcast. My name is Luke Slayo. I want to say thank you again for tuning in. We have these after every Orioles game. They're streamed live to YouTube and available on demand wherever you get your podcasts. The final score tonight, the Baltimore Orioles 6 and the LA Angels 5. Good night, stay safe, and I'll see you right back here tomorrow afternoon.